begin by saying thank you for you guys inviting me here. I don't necessarily deserve to be here more than anybody else, but one of the greatest things I get from getting an opportunity to speak about something is that you forget yourself and you get an opportunity to learn. So just as much as I'll be telling you guys, this was good for me. So thank you for letting it be good for me. And I would be honest, I usually like to prepare a talk in a way that is unconventional. So you have this topic, I'll kind of go off topic and then bring it back to the topic. And one of the best ways to do that is to go through the Quran, find verses that kind of seem like they're off topic, but then relate it back to the topic. And I found so many verses in the Quran, and I think you guys might go through this as well when you have a presentation and you're getting so much information. You kind of feel like, okay, I'm going to go down this route, but then no, but there's that opportunity to go down that route. And then for like 2 days, you're thinking, which route should I go down? And at the end, you don't really know which route to go down. I was kind of in that boat where I couldn't really figure out. There's so much information in the Quran when it comes to success, when it comes to deen, when it comes to dunya, when it comes to akhirah. There's so much in there, and I found it a little bit difficult. However, I will say, one of the reasons you guys chose to read Surah Dariyat, was it because وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ? So now I knew that they might do this, so I decided I'm going to avoid that completely. So I'm not going to talk about the reason Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us in that verse. But what you're going to find is, inshallah, throughout this talk, there's going to be, it might seem a little bit sporadical, things all over the place, but at the end we're going to bring it all full circle. So do bear with me. If you get a little bit confused, just write it down. Inshallah, in the Q&A we can clarify things. To begin with, if I was to ask anybody here what their goal in life is, or what they want to achieve in life, or what they define as success, I am pretty sure that the core of whatever you define as success for you will be that you are happy. So whether your success is that you manage to have enough money to afford something, what will be the reasoning for you affording that something? Because it will make you happy. What is the reasoning for you want to have success in health? Is because it will make you feel happy. What's the reasoning you want to have your parents be happy with whatever you're doing? Because that will also make you feel happy. What's the reasoning why you want success in the akhirah? Because it will make you happy. So at the core of everything, our success that we as human beings look for is something that makes us feel happy. And if I was to give an example to a group of children, if we were traveling with a group of children, and I use children because I know you guys are too smart for this. If you were to ask children who come in with you and you pass a huge mansion, it has the swimming pools, it's got the fountains, they've got the cars, and you ask the children, is this person successful? Person who owns this mansion, who owns the cars, and they will say yes. And if you keep walking with them and you come across somebody who's homeless, and it looks like he's wearing clothes from a few months ago, and he smells very bad, and he's scruffy, if you were to ask them, is this person successful? They would tell you no. Obviously, I know if I asked you guys would think, this guy's trying to trick us, so the mansion guy's not successful. So that's why you give the example of the kids. And now let's look at Fir'aun. Fir'aun had a palace. Fir'aun had the authority over the land, he had technology, he had all of this greatness that you would associate success with. But we all know who Fir'aun is. We all know that he is the epitome of failure. And then we look at Ibrahim alayhi salam. When he became Muslim, he told his father to become Muslim. What does his father do? He kicked him out of the house. Now at that stage, Ibrahim alayhi salam, he's homeless. And he is the epitome of success. So success for them was not material, what they had in this dunya. Success for them was something else, and we'll go through that inshallah. And now usually a typical answer, if somebody was to ask this question, what is success, how do you get success? You say Islam, you get Islam, you do Islam, you get success. You get success in this world, you get success in the akhirah. But now if I was to ask you to look at the Muslims in the world, are the Muslims in general, are they successful? The Muslims have Islam. Why is it that they don't have the success? There was a time where Muslims were successful. What's the difference between that time and this time? So I have you guys think about that. And success is, if you talk about psychology, when a mentalist comes and he amazes people by guessing what they were a word that he asked them to write. One of the reasons why he's able to guess that word is because he's put in different, throughout the program of them walking into the hall, he's put in a certain word somewhere. So they repetitively come across this word, or he mentions it a lot in his presentation, and it becomes like a subconscious thing where that's the word that you think of. in Islam, Allah has put the word or the concept of success in front of us so many times. However, sometimes maybe because of the lack of understanding, maybe because of the lack of the knowledge of the Arabic language, and other maybe because you define success as society is defining success, we kind of miss it. So in the Quran, in Surah Fatiha, Allah says, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at least 17 times a day that He guides us to the straight path. What is the straight path? Is the path to success. What is the straight path? Is a balanced path between dunya and akhirah. If it wasn't straight, if it wasn't balanced, the path would not be straight anymore. Where else does Allah say success? When the mu'adhin makes adhan and when he does iqamah, he says hayya ala al-falah, come to success. He says that twice, or 4 times with every prayer. And again, this is coming, we're constantly being reminded of success itself, but we aren't seeing success the way Islam tells us to look at success. We're seeing success as the society is telling us to look at success. And that's not anybody's fault. That's just the way the humankind understand concepts. If we look at one of the du'as of the Prophet Muhammad in the Quran, the first du'a before the du'a we should be making, it says, رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا وَمَا لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنْ خَلَاقٍ. It says that there will be some people who make du'a to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they say, oh Allah, give us what is in the dunya and its money, its treasures, and that is it. That's the end of their du'a. And Allah says they will get what they want in this world. They will get the money, they will get the dunya, but then they'll lose out on the part of the du'a they didn't make. And then the other people, they will say, رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيا حَسَنًا وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنًا وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. They will say that, oh Allah, give us in this dunya, in this world, give us something good, and give us in the akhirah something good. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He promises for them that they will get what they work for. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us of those people. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us of those who, this dua is something that we can read in our tashahhud at the end of every prayer. And if we are repetitively reminding ourselves of this with an understanding today that that dua is your dua for success, then inshallah that subconscious idea of what success is, it will kind of be drilled into you. Even if I was to tell your subconscious now that I'm trying to trick it into learning what success is, subconscious doesn't understand that. Subconscious, the only part of your brain that's telling you that this guy's trying to trick me into understanding what success is the conscious mind. And of that, it's like 5-6% of your mind is the conscious, 95% is the subconscious. Subconscious can be trained. Just get your conscious to listen that success is what Islam defines success as, and not what society defines success as. And what did Umar radiallahu anhu do when he was a Khalifa? He came to the mosque, he found young people sitting in the masjid, and they were just doing nothing. They were not necessarily making dua or anything, maybe talking to each other. He got a stick out and started whacking them. Get out, go do some work. If you want success, you're not going to get it sitting here in the masjid, just talking to each other. Even if you're praying all day, you're not going to get the success that you want by just sitting here. You need to go outside and do work. Now, he wouldn't be kicking them out of the masjid if they're praying at 12 in the evening. This is in midday, when people should be going outside. They got an opportunity to do something to create success in this dunya. And when people look at monks, their success is to just focus on worshipping. Islam, if we just focus on worshipping, we have failed. Because on the Day of Judgment, most of our questioning is not how many prayers we prayed, how many astaghfirullahs we did, how many tawbahs we made. Most of the time, our questioning will be based on our interactions with one another. Most of our questionings will be based on how we spent our time, how we spent our money, as per the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad. And there will be one group of people who will be deprived of entering paradise. They've already received their scales and they were on the good side. They see that they're going into Jannah, but they will be deprived. They'll be right next to the gate, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will hold them back because they did something to an individual in this world. They had a bad relationship with somebody in this world and they didn't rectify it. And because they have that, they are considered to be impure. And Allah says only those who are pure enter into Jannah. So these people will be standing on what is called Sirat, one of the bridges, before entering into Jannah. Until they resolve the issue between one another, they will not get an opportunity to enter in paradise. And that in itself, just imagine you've been through the Day of Judgment that's 50,000 years long, and we all know the hardships of the Day of Judgment. and you finally feel like you're getting into Jannah, and then you're stopped from being entered into Jannah. And that was purely because of an action-based thing, not a religious, spiritual-based thing. And then I want to give you the example of Musa alayhi salam. And I want to paint a picture first. We all know the story of Musa alayhi salam. He's the most mentioned prophet in the Quran. And in Surah Taha, Allah He tells Musa alayhi salam tells his people that I see a fire, I'm going to go to the fire, maybe I'll find some news, maybe I'll find some directions, I'll find something at the fire. And this is them being exiled out of Egypt, so they don't know where to go, they're trying to find help and support wherever they can go, and they'll be a little bit on edge because people of Egypt are looking for them. And people of Egypt, they've been given the rule to go and not find Musa and imprison him, but to kill him on sight. So Musa alayhi salam, he goes and he comes to the fire, and like you try to be in Musa alayhi salam's shoes, where he's kicked out of his land, he's got nowhere to go, he's got a lot of people with him. He enters into this place where there's a fire, and he hears a voice saying, take your shoes off. Now what is Musa alayhi salam going to be thinking? Musa alayhi salam in the Quran, the way the Quran is worded in this particular scenario, Musa alayhi salam, he doesn't think twice, he takes his shoes off. And then Allah, He says that I am Allah, you're the Most High. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells Musa alayhi salam, what's in your hand? He says, I got a stick. And Allah tells him, throw a stick, it becomes a snake. Now think about Musa, some stranger talking to him. He's in a position where he's very uncomfortable. Allah tells him to pick up the snake. And we've seen in other instances, Musa alayhi salam was afraid when the stick turned into a snake. Allah told him to pick it up. He didn't ask Allah anything. He picked up the snake and it turned back into staff. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him to put his hand into his sleeve, and his hand comes out white. It's not like an out-of-body thing that's changing color. It's not like his stick is turning into something else. Imagine your skin suddenly just changes color. How would you feel? You'd be terrified. You wouldn't know what to do. Just run around like a headless chicken trying to figure out what's going on with your hand. Musa alayhi salam, he does it, and then he's surprised, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he turns it back, and Musa alayhi salam doesn't say anything, doesn't ask Allah anything. Then Allah tells Musa alayhi salam, اذهب إلى فرعون إنه طغى. Go to Fir'aun, for he has transgressed. And now Musa alayhi salam is in a very uncomfortable position. He's lived in the house of Fir'aun. He's been a prince for his whole life. The whole of Egypt know who this guy Musa is. He can't hide. If he goes into Egypt, he can't hide. They're going to find him. The army is after him. The police are after him. And Allah's telling him, go to Egypt and go speak to the king. Where, he's the one that wants the head of Musa. So Musa alayhi salam, at that point, he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is the dua that we usually use. If I was standing up here just before I got up, I made this dua. Because this dua we usually use for eloquency. A dua we usually use maybe when we're taking exams as well, you make that dua so that you're able to write in an appropriate and a good manner. But Musa alayhi salam, his dua here was not purely for eloquency. His dua here was asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for success. He says, Rabbi shrah li sadri. He begins and he asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to purify his chest, his heart, his soul. Because he's going into a place of fear. He's going into a place of the unknown. And what happens when you're in that position? You go into an emotional response rather than a logical response. And we know Musa alayhi salam, when he sees anything wrong, what is his reaction? He himself wants to go and rectify it. When he saw those two people fighting earlier in the story, he went and intervened and he tried to rectify it. He did kill somebody, but he tried to rectify it. That was in his, I want to say DNA. When the story of the two women who were trying to get some water for their sheep, he saw nobody's helping, so he himself went to go rectify it. Now imagine Musa alayhi salam is going to be going to the house of Fir'aun, the guy who's saying that I am the Lord. That's the biggest sin somebody's committing. Musa alayhi salam is going to be frustrated. How is this guy doing this? He wants to rectify it. And he won't be able to rectify it if he's acting purely on emotion. The only way he'll be able to rectify it is if his sadr, his chest, his soul, his heart is calm. So he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rabbi shrah li sadri. So whenever, the reason why I say this is one of the du'as for success is because if you are trying to go for success and you're basing it on an emotional response, your success will not be as fruitful than one that has somebody has an open heart and he knows that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with him or her the entire time. وَيَسِّرْ لِي أَمْرِي. Now this again makes sense for success. Musa alayhi salam says, and make my actions easy for me. And if you want success, you need that ease from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But my dua usually, when I want success, is I've got this certain issue, I want to be successful in it. I begin by asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I have this issue, and I need success in it. So make it easy for me. I don't begin by asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to first purify my chest, purify my soul. Because when you are in a state of purity, then success is in a view of clarity. If you are, the reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribed so many prayers for us is because that's our time to get our souls open and understanding that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had us pray once a month, in that month we'll have a lot of situations where we'll be acting purely on emotion, because that's our nature. You know, when we've got lots of assignments piling up, we start getting anxious about it, anxiety builds, comes in, you start thinking you can't do it anymore. All of these emotions, if you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to ishrah sadri, to open my chest, these emotions will slowly be moved away from you. And then success will look easier in front of you. And when you make this dua, don't only make it now for when you want eloquency, but also make it for any time you're looking for success. I put this in the middle because I didn't want to scare you guys in the beginning or the end. So it kind of, again, seems like it's all over the place. But if I was to ask anybody, and if you guys do want to shout out, do feel free. If you don't want to, I understand. I've been there before. You don't want to really say anything. If I was to ask you, there's one dua that something will make against you that will deprive you of success. Who is this somebody or something? Okay, parents is one. Salihin, that's a good one. Okay, that's kind of what I really wanted, because I didn't think you would get the answer anyway. The one thing, and this is from the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, parents, yes, if they do make dua against you, then your chances of success are diminishing. And salihin, if they make dua, the righteous people against you, then there's a chance that their duas are going to be accepted, and your chances of success are going to diminish. But one of our main sources of reward in this world is our prayer. And in the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that there will be a group of every individual, his prayer could be accepted, a third of it, a quarter of it, a tenth of it, or the entire prayer itself. But there will be individuals out there that the prayer, it comes to them as a dirty cloth, and it throws itself at the face of this person, and it says, may Allah make you lost as you make me lost. May Allah waste you like you wasted me. And these are people who are praying without concentration. These are people who are praying without, knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in front of you. These are people that are praying just as an action to impress people. The prayer itself will make dua against you, and this will be your diminishing part of your path to success. So every time somebody asks you what is success, and the answer is Islam equals success, the part of Islam that is success is, one of the parts of Islam that is success is your prayer itself. I could have focused this talk on telling you pray more, fast more, do zakah, remember Allah. All of these are steps to get you to success. But I want to just mention one of these actions, and the rest is to do with your mindset and relationship. Because the one action that will be detrimental to you more than anything else will be the lack of your successful prayer. And for those of you out there that have prayed just 1-2 rak'ah prayer, and you felt incredible after it, you made this amazing dua, you felt like Allah's going to give you what you wanted immediately after. How good was that 1-2 rak'ah prayer? And for those of you who haven't got it yet, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you get it. And one way you can get it is you want something really, really bad. And every time we want something really, really bad, our temptation is, we know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is listening to us. Anything we want, He's listening, He hears, and when He wants to give it to us, He'll give it to us. But if you really want something really, really bad, don't jump to asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to heal your leg. Begin your dua by saying, oh Allah, you are the one that gave me the leg. You are the one that cured Yaqub alayhi salam. You are the one that helped Musa alayhi salam when he was faced in tragedy. You are the one that helped Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he was going through pain, when he was going through hardship. You are the one who did this. Go through your life itself. You are the one who got me out of this. You are the one who gave me this. You are the one who gave me that. Spend like 10 minutes just remembering what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done and what He has done for you and for others. And when you put yourself in the mindset that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done this for all these people, and what you have is like minute compared to theirs, your dua will have more conviction in it. You will believe, you will make yourself believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will answer this. There are so many times where I myself sometimes just question my dua. Am I not making dua properly? Maybe I'm doing loads of other things wrong. Once you start convincing yourself that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there, because Allah is there, He tells us so many times in the Quran, and we hear it too often, and we hear it way too often. Sometimes we think, okay, maybe Allah is there for this guy, but not for me. And to convince yourself, you tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala what He is before you tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala what you want. And before you get to the stage of what you want, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already understood what your dua is. Sometimes I used to, when I didn't know Arabic too well, because in Salah they suggested that you use Arabic du'as. So I kind of came to the conclusion that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows what we think. So I'll just go into sujood, I won't say anything, I'll just think what I want. I'll be in sujood, I won't be saying anything, just thinking, yeah, I want this, I want that, I want this. And what I would do is, maybe I felt like comfortable that I'm making the dua, but when I said it out loud after the prayer, even though when you're in sujood you're closest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when I said it out loud, then I felt like, okay, now I've made a dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is listening to me. And for those of you who don't speak Arabic, do make your du'as in English and sujood. Allah created languages, so don't worry about that. And for us to understand success in this life, we need to understand that dunya and akhirah aren't two different things. You can't cut off your ties with dunya and expect to get akhirah. And you can't focus on just dunya and expect to get akhirah as well. If you do dunya properly, you've got akhirah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's only given us a limited time on this earth. What we need to do is that this time is not for us. Generally when people tell you got limited time on this earth, you need to get success. So that is you going through going through life, you get your studies done, you get your working done, you get married, you have children. That is the limited time that you're trying to work through. Our limited time is us trying to get as much of the akhirah as we can. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and now this is like a glad tiding moment, where there will come a person on their judgment and his scales are being weighed and the sins are way heavier than the good deeds. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask him, have a look at these scrolls. And in the hadith it says that this person he'll have 100 scrolls of sins, and each scroll covers the entire landscape of the horizon. Allah will ask him, did you do this? Did I make a mistake in the scrolls? And the person will say, no Allah, I did those actions. And then Allah will ask him, do you have anything to offer up so I can put it on the good deed scale so that it will tip the bad deed scale? And he will say, oh Allah, everything that you put on the good deed scale, that's the only actions that I did. Allah will tell him, no, you have one thing. It's a small little card. If you put this card on that scale, it will tip the scales. Does anybody know what that little card is? Sorry? The kalima, yes. The ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. We all have the kalima. And sometimes, one of my teachers, he says that he didn't like telling the story to people initially, because he thought, okay, now everybody's going to think, I've got that card, so I can do as many bad things as I want. I can rely on that little card. But what that card does is that it tells you, if you want success, you don't want to be that person that's being held back by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He's telling you, Allah is talking to you and saying, did you commit this sin? And then you have to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say, yes, I committed that sin. Imagine you do something wrong and your parents call you or your teachers call you in front of the entire class and they say, did you do this wrong? You put your head down. You don't want to admit it. And now imagine Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you're at a stage where sometimes in life our iman goes up and down, and sometimes we forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there. Allah has given us so many signs that He is there, and we can't, even the guys who are non-Muslim, they are afraid of everything. From the grave, from the death itself, from the day of judgment. We know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there, and we've reached a stage where His authority is bigger than any authority we know in this world. We reach a stage where We don't even want to confront Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We just want, an angel to tell us, hey, you're going to Jannah, and that's it. Even though we believe we've got the card, we forget all of those things. We know from on Day of Judgment, people are running around, they want you to talk to each other because to focus on themselves. So even though you've got that card in this dunya, on Day of Judgment you'll forget. All the person who probably has that card, he probably heard the hadith as well. On Day of Judgment, Allah asks him, I don't know what I have, and Allah offers it to him. A lot of success in this world has to do with our mentality, and the Prophet Muhammad, he instilled that into the Sahaba. Before the Sahaba were Sahaba and they were in Jahiliyyah, some of them had success in the world, but they didn't feel the contentment, they didn't feel the peace. We know Abu Lahab, the uncle of the Prophet Muhammad, the opportunity for success was right in front of him, and he denied it. And what was he going through? It was just pain after pain after pain, just constantly. But he didn't want to let go. He was holding on to it as strongly as he could. And now, sometimes, if you were to go to a psychologist, they'll just say, believe something will happen. Just make it just tell everybody that you are the best, and you start believing that you are the best. This is kind of true. In Islam as well, the Prophet Muhammad, to those people who would come to him and they're complaining about something, he wasn't always going to them and saying, I have sympathy for you, I realize that you're going through this struggle and I want to help you out. Prophet Muhammad, sometimes he would tell them straight off, no, just forget that happened. Focus on you. You want to get success, you need to do A, B, C, D. And that is a mindset on its own. And that Islam teaches us not to just follow actions, but to develop the mindset. And once you develop the mindset, then you see success in front of you. And now in this world, there's different pursuits that we go for. Your pursuit of happiness, pursuit of, some people want popularity. So one of their goals is to reach a stage where they're popular. They want to have prestige in amongst the people. They want to get the money. They want excellence. They want to have an impact on people. And I want to have an impact on people. You can have a pursuit of excellence and a pursuit of impact as well. And a combination of all these pursuits is what we aim for in this life. Allah says, وَلَيْسَ لِلْإِنسَانِ إِلَّا مَا سَعَى. And for a person is nothing except what he puts effort in to achieve, what he pursues. The most valuable thing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not the result at the end. It's the journey to the result. It's the pursuit to get the result at the end. Now in this world, if you were to hand out your CV to somebody, the CV will say the results of what you did at university, what you did at school, what you did at your job. CV will not say that I slept 1 hour a day, what else do you guys do? You worked so hard, you took on 10 subjects to get that degree, to finish it in a year, or whatever you did. Your CV, all it says is the results. Now I could get the best result and somebody else could get the best result. For me, I worked so hard. My entire energy, I aged 50 years just in those 3 years of university. And the other person, and I'm sure we all know somebody like this, no effort at all, he's just naturally genius, just sits down, writes everything, gets his exams done. At the end, the CV looks the same. I got the same result, he got the same result. But the difference in us, amongst us people, is that we see results as the factor that we judge people by. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He doesn't care about the result. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His focus is on the effort and the pursuit. And one of the best examples I can give you is that on the Day of Judgment, there will be coming prophets, and behind them will be not a single believer. Yet this prophet will be in the highest place of Jannah. Did the prophet not put in the effort? Nuh alayhi salam, 950 years. If you're a business person, then you have annual analysis of how the year was. Musa alayhi salam, for how many years did he have not a single person convert to Islam? To us, the result is a failure. To Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's one of the top prophets in paradise. He's one of those prophets that we all want to go talk to him and tell us, what were you doing for those 950 years? He has reached a stage where the results have shown nothing, but the effort is seen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when we want success, we don't focus on the results, we focus on the effort. And I want to talk, I'm going to generalize crazy right now. So as men, we sometimes fall in the trap of laziness, more so than women. Shaitan comes to us and he says, you've put in the effort, be comfortable with the effort you put in, just wait and something will happen. Go, just make 100 du'as and something will happen. You've put in the effort that you need. But we need to realize that the effort we're putting in is not even close to what we need. We never need to be satisfied with the amount of effort we put into an action to get the result of success in this world and in the akhirah. And the more effort we put in, even if our success is delayed, our success in the akhirah is multiplied. And now for the girls, it's kind of the opposite, where sometimes you feel very uncertain. You feel like, I don't know enough, I need to study a little bit more, I need to do that little, tweak my references a little bit more, I might change things here and there. And you go in a cycle of not thinking that you're good enough. And as a result, you're putting in too much effort, but you're not getting any results. Now, we want a result at the end, we want to go into Jannah. And the effort we put in needs to be, back to the topic, balance between achieving the success in this world and achieving the success in the akhirah. And it's really, really important for us now, especially when you come to university, is that you're studying something. And one thing that my father told me is whatever you choose at university, you need to understand that now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put a trust in you, that you have this knowledge, and you need to do something with this knowledge to have an impact on the people. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given a certain person the ability to memorize things very quickly, when he memorizes things very quickly, it's his responsibility now to recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him this ability, and he needs to do something that is positive with it. As a result, he is being thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the gift that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him. Now, if the gift Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you is a degree at the end of your years at university, you need to do something about that degree to reach a stage where you are successful, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put you in a position where you know something somebody else doesn't know. Especially for those who are studying medicine. Would you want to send your family to a doctor who came to do medicine because they were forced to do it from their family? Would you want to go to a doctor who's just in the profession because he was forced into it? Or would you want to do it for somebody who decided he's going to do this because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him a responsibility to be good to the people? Whatever action you guys decide to take, whatever you're studying, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed a responsibility on you. And that responsibility doesn't mean that you have to work in that industry. That responsibility means that you need to find a way to have an impact on people. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not just created us in this world to do worshiping to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the form of spirituality, but our worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also in our interactions with humankind. Our worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also on the impact we are having on people, given the success that we have been given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we all want success, we all want that place where we are happy inside. Some of the scholars make a statement and they say that for those people who have witnessed paradise on earth, they will be promised paradise in Jannah. Now, does that mean you've gone to Switzerland and you've enjoyed the Alps and stuff? There is a form of paradise there. But the paradise that the scholar is talking about is a sense of happiness that we can't comprehend until we reach it. So many examples we have. The Prophet Muhammad himself, he knew he was successful. We can't doubt it. Even then, he put in a crazy amount of effort. He didn't indulge too much in this world because he didn't feel like he needed to. We know the examples that sometimes he wouldn't eat an entire day. He would go, sleep a couple of nights without eating a single meal. But his success, his view of paradise in this world, other than the night journey, was him feeling satisfied with his actions. And the same thing came with the other Sahaba that came after him. Same thing came with the time when Muslims were successful. It's because everybody had the mentality that we need to have an impact on people. We need to reach a place where everybody is in a position of happiness, and that position is a position of success. And we have to always remind ourselves and remind other people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the Day of Judgment, He's not looking at how successful we were in terms of worldly things. He's looking at how much effort we put in, and even though we had adversity in front of us. Whether that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala testing us in a way, or whether it is just us struggling with our own, our own religious spirituality, us struggling with our prayers, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He put a barrier in front of you in the form of money, in the form of family, in the form of arguments, in the form of any other hardships we get in this world. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will look at the effort itself. And if for us to get success, we need to recognize that when we are going through hardship, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to open our chests, to make it easy for us, and for us to attain success, we put in whatever effort we can put in. There's not a single time when you are not putting the effort in and you're not receiving the results, and you're just sitting back and you're watching a comedy and you feel like you're happy now. You're not happy. You're happy for a moment in time. After that, you go back into a position where you're looking for that happiness again. And what do? You go and watch another comedy. And then you go back to a place where you're not happy, and just a slight inkling of being unhappy, shaitan comes to you and say, another comedy. And what happens is, you get into a false sense of happiness, and that leads to you not getting the success in this world and in the akhirah. As I said before, we are here for a short period of time. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the ability to work our best in the short period of time to reach a stage of happiness. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He gives us, as per the dua of the Prophet Muhammad, رَبَّنَا أَتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us of those who constantly feel like we are satisfied with our condition in this world. We are patient in front of hardship. We are in a state of success in this world and in the akhirah. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us of those who go and spend 950 years with Nuh alayhi salam in Jannah. And we ask him to narrate every single minute in front of us, because we've got an endless time there. The main difference that we have between this world and the akhirah is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that what He has for you saved in the akhirah is similar to what's in this world, except that it's both better and it's everlasting. The food you have in this world, you can get the food in paradise. The friends you have in this world, you can get those friends in paradise. The cars you have in this world, you can get those cars in paradise. The degrees you have in this world, you get them for free in paradise. And sometimes what we do as humans again is that when we are in a state of joy, we realize that it's going to come to an end. When we're in Jannah, we can't comprehend this now because it doesn't make sense to us that something will never come to an end. Sometimes when I give the example that you will sit with somebody for 1,000 years and just talking to them, I can't talk to myself for a minute. How are you going to sit with somebody else and just sit there for like 1,000 years and just discussing something? Time is just not a factor in Jannah. And for us to just sometimes contemplate that we will be in a position where we want whatever we want, we get it. We eat an orange today, we eat an orange tomorrow. The one we had tomorrow is better than the one we had today. We have an orange every day for 1,000 years. Every single day the orange gets better. We want the orange to turn blue, it turns blue. Whatever you want, we get that in paradise. And if we keep the dunya and akhirah linked as one thing, then we will achieve success. So for us, inshallah, whatever career you guys are in, whatever relationships you're with, be it with your friends, with your family, be it with children, whatever relationships you have an intention and mindset that everything you are doing is for the akhirah, then you don't really necessarily need to sit down somewhere and worry, did I do enough? Am I doing something for the Day of Judgment? Do I need to pray an extra 2 rak'ah? Because every waking and sleeping moment of your life is you working towards the akhirah and is you working on a path to success. May Allah make us of those who are successful. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. I'm sorry I didn't throw any jokes in there. I was going to joke that we kind of choreographed the not Quran reciting, but then I felt like I'll get this reaction.
Very beautiful talk. Now we're opening up to Q&A. I know that Maghrib, we'll have to pray Maghrib as well, so we'll take questions from the floor firstly, and then any written questions after that. So if anyone's got any questions, please put your hands up. Any questions?
I take criticism as well. So if you have anything you want to add, feel free.
No questions from the floor? Okay, so, okay, go.
You know, like when we say balancing between deen and dunya, let's say, for example, that person wants to begin focusing on deen outside university. What first steps should you take to begin practicing?
So So the first steps to start practicing your deen. I think the main aspect of religion that will give you some sense of accomplishment is the Quran itself. And whether you're reading it in Arabic or whether you're reading it in English, it's more, you can get more out of it than if somebody just begins a religion and starts praying and they don't have that strength and conviction and iman yet. They should pray, but their prayer won't give them the ability to continue growing. If they start reading the Quran or look for passages that if the reason why you turned back to Islam is, or come trying to practice your religion a little bit more, was because you went through a hard time, Allah helped you out of a hard time. Go and read the stories of other people who went through hard time. Go and read Surah Yusuf. Surah Yusuf will never get old for you. You'll learn something every single time you read Surah Yusuf. And just the reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's mentioned more stories in the Quran than anything else is because we relate to the stories. And the stories are a form of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not pointing fingers at you and saying, do A, B, C, D. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, this person did A, B, C, D, and look what he got. If you do anything close to what this person did, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you so much more. So my suggestion would be to go to the Quran, just Google a topic that you are interested in, go read those verses. Or find a video that's focusing on those verses itself. And that will be your source of building your confidence in Islam, and building your own iman as well. More so than anything else. See, I felt a little bit out of my depth doing this because I find something in the Quran and I just say, this is what the Quran says, and I explain it a little bit and that covers everything. Because I don't need to put any effort in. The Quran has all the answers right there. All I need to do is just show you, okay, there's one ayah here, one ayah there, one ayah there, they're all connected, and then you say, you get like a eureka moment, where you say, oh, I knew that ayah, but okay, now it makes sense. And that's all, Quran will make everything make sense for you, so that's my suggestion.
Are there any more questions? Handwritten one here as well. So the question is, I'm a fourth year student and I've been told many times to get involved with ISOC, but I'm worried about taking too much responsibility.
I'm going to give you the example of myself. So I studied in Malaysia at the university there, and in my second semester, the ISOC that was there, the president left. I don't know what happened. I think there was like a welfare officer was left over and a publicity officer was left over. And they started saying we're recruiting, and they got all the positions filled except the position at the top. And I kind of went, I'm a new guy here, I just want to get like a low life kind of thing. I don't want to know anything, I just want to sit there and be in company of people. But nobody was stepping up to go to the top. And it came to a stage where we've gone through like 3 weeks of the semester and just nothing's happening. So I said, look, I'll do it for this semester, but you guys need to do all the work. I'll just take the position, maybe I'll make public appearances or something, but you guys do all the work. And what ended up happening is I'm doing all the work. They were helpful or not, I don't want to say anything bad about them, but I assumed the responsibility of a president. And it was a lot of work, and I was university, just big jump and stuff. But the one thing that made everything easy was that when you're doing something for Islam and you have the good group around you, when you spend an hour on that work, and you come out and you're just going out, hanging out with your friends or doing something else, you feel so much accomplished with that 1 hour than when you spend 10 hours doing your assignments. Even if you completed it at the end of those 10 hours, that 1 hour you spent with those group of people who are reminding you constantly that the reason why we're doing this is not so we tell our parents that we were involved in ISOC or so we meet somebody or anything like that. The reason why you're there is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to benefit yourself out of it. And then just the sense of accomplishment itself will make everything else easier for you. And you kind of build the mindset now, even your studies, the reason why you're doing it is not to get the grade at the end. It's because you want to have a bigger impact later on. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it easy for you. When I gave you the example that there's two students, one he works really, really hard and the other one takes the time. Same thing in life. We can work really, really hard. We don't need to focus on the result because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no matter what, He promises you that He will give you the result. But that result is not on our schedule. that's on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's schedule. So when we remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who's controlling our schedule, it's not our Google calendar or anything like that. Allah is, He's controlling Google Calendar as well. If we focus on that, we know that success will be where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed it for us. So don't overwork yourself either. If the other guys start giving like 100 responsibilities and stuff, tell them, calm down.
I will take these last two questions, put it together. How do you know that you have surrounded yourself with the correct people at university, and how do you pick yourself from struggles and sins when you're trying them?
So, correct people, I think there's different aspects of finding the correct person, and one thing that you should begin with is asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He's the one that gives you the correct person. And don't make the dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I just want the correct person, to just wait for him to appear. The dua you're making is, Musa alayhi salam, he traveled to find the one person on earth who knew a little bit more than him. And when he found him, he asked him every single question, even though the guy told him, don't ask me any questions. That's the kind of dua you're making to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you want that person. And that begins with that. Then the identification of somebody that's good is usually somebody who reminds you you're doing something good. And sometimes you can go back and ask if you have a backing of a teacher or a trusted parent or something, and you can tell them that this is the character of such and such a person. Do you see them as a good person? And you can go ahead and make that decision. Or you just look at a situation where somebody had an opportunity to invite you to do something good. Did they take it or did they not? Based on that, you make the decision whether you see them as good company. But before you get there, you need to be that person to the other person, to tell him or her that there's something good for you to go and do this. And if you notice that you're not that person, then we come to the answering of the second question. When you're trying to move away from sins, and you're struggling with it, the only way is for you to find the other person to come and tell you to do something else right. These things are connected as unlike most other things. And for me, those are the most effective ways to resolve you struggling with doing sins and you're looking for good company. If I was to tell you do more dhikr, go pray Qiyam al-Layl, go pray 2 rak'ahs randomly in the middle of Western Park and just, feel like, yeah, I'm Muslim. If I was to tell you to do that, it's going to be a little bit more difficult than for you to just notice that, okay, these people are around me, who can I hang out with just a little bit more? And, people, sometimes you find it's a little bit awkward, but they would appreciate it. Don't be afraid of just going to somebody and saying, I think you're like a great person, and I just want to hang out with you for a bit. It's really, really awkward. But when that same person, 5 years down the line, when you remember that story, you guys will be both crying your eyes out, like, remember you told me that. Yeah. So don't be afraid to do it, especially now, because now is the opportunity where you're kind of surrounded by new people, and these people are all trying to look for support and all trying to look to grow together. This is a great opportunity where everybody is kind of like, okay, you're not going to be in a position where I've already got enough friends, so if somebody comes and tells me that, and you just say, I'm okay. I've got mates, don't worry about me. Now is a good time for you guys to do that, inshallah.
Jazakallah khair for the talk and for answering questions. If we did miss any of the questions out, or if anyone's got any personal questions they want to ask, will you guys hang around? Yeah, you can hang around, inshallah. And potentially, if not, we can also forward the questions for you guys to ask. But thanks once again, travelled all the way from Nottingham, spent an hour with us, and Jazakallah khair for that. Before we all go off to pray Maghrib, we've just got a few announcements to make. So some upcoming events and announcements. We have Sisters Rock Climbing, Wednesday 26th September, 6 to 8, £10 cost, and you're meeting outside the SU, 5:15. We've got Brothers Go-Karting, Thursday 27th September, meet at 6:50. Where are we meeting? We're meeting at the IC. £20 for a members ticket, non-members tickets £25. There are 4 spaces left, so you've got to get them quick. And that's that. And then we have finally the Sisters Meal on Thursday the 27th September, 6 p.m, meeting at the SU, and obviously make sure you bring enough money for your meal. And also we have the football trials for the brothers. That will be next week, Tuesday 2nd October, Goodman Sports Centre, 4 p.m. And also we have a sister circle, home and away from home. Have a conversation with other students in a warm and homely environment. That will be the 2nd October as well, 6 to 8 p.m. Student Union, Gallery Room 3. All of this should be on Facebook and should be on the WhatsApp groups. If you're not on WhatsApp, if you guys aren't on WhatsApp, speak to Abdul Latif, girls to Samir. We're also doing a trip to Spain, Andalusia tour. That will be with quite a few other ISOCs. We've given out the posters. ISOCs from the north will go to Seville, Cordoba, Granada. That will be from 15th December to the 19th December. Price of £399, including flights and accommodation with a £99 deposit. There's also Arabic for Understanding. Muslim Welfare House are doing sessions where they're teaching Arabic, 6 to 8:15 p.m., £50 per 10 sessions, so that's £5 per session every Sunday at Muslim Welfare House. Again, you'll find more details on Facebook. We're talking about impact, where you can make an impact, inshallah, join a USIC committee, subcommittee position. There's currently some spaces within the education aspect of things, so we need people to join the education subcommittee. And also we're looking for a poster maker for publicity as well. And you can apply through the link, and again, we'll be sending out the forms for that. USIC membership card, so I think quite a lot of you should have information about this. £10 for a card. You get loads of discounts at our events, at other shops and places like that. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it. And finally, if you really want to make an impact, unfortunately our treasurer had to step down, so we have a new position on committee. More details will be coming out in the next few weeks, but we'll be holding an EGM, which is an emergency general meeting, where basically you'll have your time to sort of make a speech, say why you're the best for the role, and we'll have an election. All members are invited to attend, even if you're not running, and all members are encouraged so that we can vote for the best person. And yeah, keep up to date with us, University of Sheffield Islamic Circle, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Snapchat. And that's everything. I think we're going to inshallah pray Maghrib now. Jazakallah khair.